And now, live from our Smokehouse studio, it's time for Real Estate Jerky. All your real estate questions answered by our provocatively lean expert hosts. Edward Ed Parco, MBA, veteran, and president of Lending for Living. We'll give you something to chew on. Real Estate Jerky is on now.
That's my California.
Welcome back. I'm Mike Kelly. You're listening to Real Estate Jerky right here on PowerTalk 1360 KFIV, where we always give you something to chew on. Joining us right now is City of Modesto Director of Utilities, Will Wong. Hey, Will. Thanks for coming in.
Thanks, Mike. Thanks for having me.
Actually, it's been you spoke at Rotary, and I'm like, people need to know this more than us Rotarians. The whole city needs to know what you do. So what do you do as a Director of Utilities of Modesto?
Well, the City of Modesto formed its Utilities Department in about 2014. They split us off from the Public Works Department. And essentially what I like to say is we do everything that's wet and underground. So anything that has to do with water and underground, we'll take care of it. The other stuff is really the boring Public Works part.
Yeah.
Yeah, the high school kid just came out of Mike over there when you said that.
Yeah. Yeah. I got some jokes.
All right. So you split off from Public Works, which was that a city Public Works we're talking about, not the county Public Works, right?
Correct. That's a city Public Works. The department was over 450 people, I believe.
Ouch.
So for a city this size, the city of Modesto really deserves a team that focuses on its utilities, and that's why they actually split it off.
All right. So you said everything underground that's wet. So does that mean you don't handle the sewers?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
That's wet.
All
That's
right.
wet.
So how much does it cost to reattach to a sewer and off a break?
If you want to know how much it costs to replumb your water and sewer lines, right now is not the right time to do it.
No.
Pretty
Yeah.
expensive.
Darn.
Yeah.
Darn.
Sometimes
Ed.
you can't do certain things. Yeah.
Sometimes you just have to.
Sometimes you feel like a nut and then you have to do stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just it's weird because the whole time I've lived on the street I live on, everybody who ever came to our house said it was in the front, right? Our sewer. And the people across the street, it's in the front. But our side is in the middle that used to have an alley that nobody knows is there because it's gone now.
It was abandoned.
Yeah.
Yeah, the part, a long time ago in those older neighborhoods, they used to have alleys. And since we've abandoned them, we've tried to move everything in front. The difficulty now is if we have to serve one of those sewer lines or water lines in the alley, it becomes a little challenging.
Yeah.
So do you guys do a program at all to help people move their sewer line to the front? Or is it just a reconnect somewhere, a brand new connection, where it's very expensive?
It really depends on the neighborhood. So if the neighborhood does have a lot of leaks, we will make a project where we will look at removing our existing utilities from the alleyways into the public right of way in the street. It makes it a lot easier for our crews to access.
To get to.
Yeah.
So do you have a program in the Brady area?
Well, you know what? Yeah, we might actually. After this, we'll talk and we'll see where my crew is going to be, where my engineers are designing, and maybe we might make a deal.
Well, it's just
a
matter of because I'm looking at the whole side of where I'm at going. That whole side is going over here, and then it's weird is the people across the street, right? The people behind them go through their yard with their sewer line,
right?
Yeah.
So not only do you have your sewer line going through your yard to the front, you have your neighbors going through the yard to the front. And it's like, wow, it's amazing things that you don't know is there and how things, because when we ripped out the sewer pipe that we have now and replaced it, that 1950 pipe is really damaged.
Yeah.
I don't care. I mean, now I know why all my bushes in the backyard were growing so well.
Yeah, you had a lot of leaks, right?
It had to have.
And they love the stuff that was coming out of the Pargo house, right?
Deeply
Well,
forgotten.
every house. That's not our house.
It's all that quinoa.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah. So, all right. So what's the big deal with the utilities? All right. So we were talking, joking about sewer and water lines. Now you also deal with the water lines.
Yes, we do water and as well as storm drain.
Now, what about the water lines? I'm not trying to get any, but I know the water lines are originally in the front are from 1950, right? They have never been replaced. Is there a program if somebody wants, because what's weird is sometimes you turn on the water on certain, and all of a sudden this brown water comes out, right? Because the pipes are old and everything, and it's not just the pipes in your house; it's that pipe coming to your house. Is there a program to replace that pipe so that the water is just as good, or is it's not going to matter because the pipe it's coming from is that old?
Yeah, a lot of times when you get brown water that comes from in the faucet is usually from the internal pipes. So the old iron pipes that are in your home will rust over a period of time, and that's what happens. That's the brown water coming out. Was not the city of Modesto's water per se, because we had to meet state and federal standards. So from a water quality standpoint, we had to supply you with drinking water. After it passed the meter, it's really no telling what's out there.
Yeah, and these pipes rust from the inside out, right?
They do, yes.
Not the outside in.
No, that would be crazy.
Well, sometimes, if you do have
just for
metal, if you do really have metal pipe, we actually do have soil conditions that will eat pipe from the outside in.
Sure.
Wow.
Yeah.
Sounds like.
Yeah, you drive around town every now and then and you see water bubbling up, kind of like the Beverly Hillbillies.
Yeah.
It's a bubble and brew. And I know people call and you'll see a crew out there ripping the street up and fixing these leaks. So how old is a lot of the water lines through the city?
Well, we'll have water lines that are 50, 60, 70 years old.
Yeah.
Keep in mind, Modesto had formed as a water system back in the, I think, early 20s or 30s, where we consolidated a bunch of small water systems because we wanted to really be able to provide public service, public works, to provide people water. So again, those types of pipes, especially metal pipes that have been in the ground for a long time, will deteriorate and we'll have a lot of leaks.
Yeah.
So that's what really drives us to do a lot of these large capital projects. So for instance, we're focusing in the La Loma area because La Loma has a lot of homes that are in the 60, 70-year-old range and a lot of leaks. So that's a really good indicator that we use as an engineering and water team to determine where we spend the money. So we do raise rates to pay for the cost of service. That cost of service is to provide drinking water to everyone, but also to fund projects throughout town.
Yeah.
Wow. Hey, we're talking with City of Modesto Director of Utilities, William Wong. If you have any questions for us, you can reach out to us by dialing 209-404-1915. That's 209-404-1915, or you can visit lendingforliving.com. You can also email us at radio.realestatejerky.com. All right. The reason I said William, that way, if anybody's calling from the show, you know that they don't really know who you are instead of calling you for Will. Right.
Yep.
That's why I say Edward everywhere. And when people call Edward, my staff knows, hey, that's somebody he doesn't know.
Yeah. I appreciate that.
Instead of Ed, you know what I mean? So,
yeah.
All right. So what projects are you working on with this for the water that we have to, because you were talking about La Loma area has, older homes. Well, and I'm going to bring up my neighborhood, which is I'm living in a house that was built in the 50s for veterans when they came back from that war. And, it's old and it's been added on and everything in there is old. And I saw you shaking your head when I was talking on earlier on other things about replacing the pipes under my house, water and sewer, that is very expensive this time. Well, sometimes you don't have a choice. You just need to have it done.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. And
stuff happens.
Yeah, stuff happens. And as a utility, we try to provide the most cost-effective service for our folks. And we do have programs that we provide for free. Not really free, but you actually do pay for them. So for instance, we do have our Call Us First program, which is a sewer service. So if you do have a plug in your sewer line, let's say that you're taking a shower or you're washing dishes and everything starts backing up and all the drains in your house are starting to back up, call us first. Call the city of Modesto. We'll actually send a crew out there and we will try to clear the line and assess what the problem is. Now, we do that because we want to know what's going on with that line. So we may be able to take care of it at that moment and tell you, okay, you just have some roots in there or you have a blockage of a hairball or whatever. However, if it's something a little more significant, like a break in the line, then you're going to definitely need to call a plumber. But however, doing that service for our customers gives them an idea of what they're facing.
And when you do that, you come out, you go through the home, or you're definitely just outside.
We're definitely
from sewer up.
Yeah, we're definitely outside. We'll try to find, most homes do have what we call a sewer clean out near the home or near the property line. So we'll use that clean out and we'll actually run our auger through and a camera just to kind of see what's going on. Exactly. So a lot of times that we do see, because we are a tree city, we see a lot of tree roots.
Right.
And those tree roots get into the sewer line because they love moisture, especially right now, right? We're in the middle of a drought and people aren't there's less watering out there. So the roots will go to where it's wet, and that's how they get into sewer lines and causes a lot of blockage.
Yeah. They really like poopy water too.
Yeah.
Well, that's nutrients. Right?
Yeah.
So
Nutrients.
are you the part of the city that focuses on people overwatering?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Well, we won't.
You're not
talk
the guy in the
I'm
truck,
not that
right?
guy.
Was that you, Ed?
No,
All right, just want to
because
make sure.
my lawn is dead in the front now because of certain things, and
All right, got
I'm
it.
just going to go back. I'm going to go to turf when I'm done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
My gardener's been crying. I've had him for like forever. I mean, like 25 years. He's like,
Well, we do have a turf replacement program that will switch out your grass with drought tolerant plants and or artificial turf.
Yeah, I've heard about that. I heard about it after I'd already done my front and backyard.
Timing's
Put in
everything.
drip
Mike.
and misters and
Yeah.
but that's a great program.
Yeah, it is.
More on that.
yeah, please explain that.
Yeah. So what we'll do is if a resident will contact our staff, we'll make an appointment and we'll go to your property to see what you're planning to do. And we can give some ideas, but generally we want to get an idea of what you're planning, the square footage that you are planning to replace, and then let the customer go ahead and do what they need to do. Now, the city's water conservation rebate program really focuses on the materials. We won't reimburse for labor,
Right.
which is pretty expensive, but we'll reimburse you up to $3,000 for the cost of materials.
Wow. That's a lot of money, I think.
Yeah. It's again, but it's depending on square footage, of course.
Yeah.
Of course. Yeah, I'm doing 100,000 square feet. I'm just
Yeah. You get $3,000.
He's got the biggest lot on Brady.
No, I don't. No, it's just at the point where it's like, the biggest issue you have is we never, the watering issues,
Mhm.
the how hot it's been lately. And I want to get in climate change. We'll move on. But it's just things that your lawn isn't as beautiful as it used to be, right? Is what we could do. And now and then, neighbors use their dog on it and other stuff and it kills it. And so I'm just looking at a better way to do it and make my house look better. So that's why I'm looking at it. And plus it would save on water.
Yeah, definitely. And we do see a significant amount of water savings from customers if they don't irrigate their lawn. A lot of the summertime uses for residential is outdoor watering because a lot of people have invested money in their lawns and their bushes and their flowers and their plants. We totally get it, but in order for us to be good stewards of our available water supplies, the state really does mandate us to offer programs to encourage folks to save water, and that's the water conservation rebate program that we offer through the city of Modesto.
This is Real Estate Jerky on PowerTalk 1360 KFIV. I'm Mike Kelly, Realtor at RE/MAX Executive. You can call me at 209-968-5633. That's 209-968-5633. And when we come back, we'll continue talking to City of Modesto Director of Utilities, Will Wong, about water and utilities. Stick around and get more information you won't find anywhere else when we come back to Real Estate Jerky.
You can change the way you live out the rest of your life with our new reverse mortgage products from Lending for Living. Our loan limits are the highest available. Call us today at 209-846-9270 or visit lendingforliving.com.
Hey, glad you're back with us here on Real Estate Jerky on PowerTalk 1360 KFIV. I'm still Mike Kelly, Realtor at RE/MAX Executive with Ed Parco, MBA, veteran, mortgage expert, and president of Lending for Living. We're talking to the City of Modesto Director of Utilities, Will Wong. Will, thanks for being here.
Oh, it's a pleasure. I love to share information. Part of my job is to educate the public about our utilities.
Hey, before we went to break, you were talking about how the rebate, the state of California, you have a mandate to, save water. But one of the things that we found out over the last, few weeks is that humans only utilize 25% of all the water out there. It's 75% of all the water is done by other things, businesses, food,
Schools, parks,
everything else.
Farms.
So no matter what we conserve, we can't conserve our way out of this. And I'm not trying to get political, but I'm just saying everybody's job is to somewhat conserve, but that's not where our issue is going to be. Our issues is that how do we store water and do more? We need to do more with that. So it makes it easier for everybody else. But we have a program with gray water, right? That we recycle water.
Yeah, we don't necessarily have a gray water program for the city of Modesto, but the city of Modesto has been really innovative in the last few years on what it does with its water. I like to say that city of Modesto has been a great steward of our water resources. What you're talking about in terms of recycled water is the city of Modesto does recycle about 75% of all water that we send down our drains. We clean it to close to drinking water standards, and actually we sell it to an irrigation district, the Del Porto Water District in Patterson.
Oh,
And they get 15 million gallons a day, every day, 365 days. Yeah.
wow. That's a lot of gallons.
Yeah.
Yeah. And especially right now in the drought, they are what we call a federal contractor. So they get whatever the state or the federal government gives them at the end of the day. So all the big water irrigation companies will take the majority of that water, and what's left is what they get. I believe they're at 0% allocation this year from the federal government. So every drop that we can send to Del Porto is a benefit to the region because
They're not getting it anywhere else.
Yeah, and agriculture is the number one industry in this area. So
Yeah.
we got to support our agricultural customers, and by doing something creative like this, the city of Modesto is what we call one of the largest beneficial reuse agencies in the United States.
I had no idea about that. That's
Wow.
really cool information.
Yeah. You deal with this all the time. What are we missing right now? What haven't we asked you?
Water supply, right? That's really the topic of, I guess, this past summer. We saw a significant drought back between 2014, 2017,
Mhm.
and now we're in the third year of another drought. And it does play a big part in the future of California because it's essentially water is over allocated in the state. We talked about 25% of all water being used, right, by people, 75% by the other uses, schools,
Right.
industrial uses, commercial uses, right? So it's a precious resource, and California right now doesn't have enough of it. So if you go into the open market, we talked about irrigation districts. If you're one of those irrigation districts that doesn't have water rights, you're going to be scrambling to buy water on the open market. And what I've heard is they will spend anywhere from $1,000 to $2,000 an acre foot. That's 326,000 gallons, right?
Yeah.
Just to keep their district alive. The farmers in those districts need every drop they can get. So I do think Modesto is one of the more innovative agencies out there because we do recycle 75%. In fact, we don't discharge any wastewater in the river anymore. We actually reuse every single drop of wastewater that we treat at the city of Modesto.
Well, that seems kind of smart.
Yeah, exactly. It gets us out of the regulatory environment in some sense.
Yeah.
We're still mandated by other senses, but generally the Modesto is a really good innovator of its water resources.
I'm glad that they don't let the dairies put their stuff in the rivers anymore either.
Yeah, we're working with there's water quality is a big issue right now. Water supply is, like I said, a big issue right now. I will say that Modesto, in comparison to other agencies around us, we're in decent shape. And the reason is back in '95, the city of Modesto did partner up with Modesto Irrigation District to build a 30 million gallon a day drinking water plant at the Modesto Reservoir. And so that is about 50% of our water supply.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah. Before '95, the city of Modesto was 100% wells. So what we would do is, in order to supply our residents, we would pump the groundwater, the aquifer underneath the city of Modesto. Since that plant has been built, I'll tell you that it's been a beneficial project for the city because what has happened is we rely less on groundwater.
Okay.
And we use more surface water. Surface water is expensive, so we'll baseline our demands off the surface water, but then we'll meet peak demands through groundwater. And so over the years, since '95, what we've been doing, what we call in lieu groundwater recharges, basically using surface water and then using groundwater when we need to. Unlike the other agencies around us, where it's 100% groundwater, they're pumping their aquifer down. And so this is where you have the syndrome of dry wells, right? We've heard
Right.
of in this valley, a lot of residents, especially if they're not in a water district, they have bad water quality or they've gone dry.
Yeah.
So City of Modesto has done a really good job in investing and partnering with MID to get surface water to Modesto.
Yeah. I mean, because some of the wells that have been around here, they're only like 60 to 100 feet deep. They're not that deep, and they didn't need to be that deep. I remember when I was a long time ago when I was a kid on my grandfather's dairy, and he's digging out there. All of a sudden, there's water right there, right?
Right.
He's digging down
With a shovel.
Yeah, well, it was backhoe. We were, we didn't use
Yeah.
shovels. We used backhoes. We had
Gotcha.
those machines.
You're smart.
Yeah.
Well, you got to a point. You can only move so much dirt with a young 155-pound kid.
Who's dirt poor.
That's right. Dirt road poor. All right. We're talking to the city of Modesto Director of Utilities, William Wong. If you have any questions for me, you can reach out dialing 209-404-1915. That's 209-404-1915. You can email us at radio@realestatejerky.com. All right. Well, what's the future for Modesto with water? What's going on? What are we changing? Is there anything?
Well, yeah, there's a issue brewing up in the state. We are regulated by politics. A lot of times there are a couple Senate, shocking, right? There are a couple Senate bills that are a concern for us. They're SB 606 and AB 1668. Those bills essentially kind of regulate the state of California on water use. So what they were trying to do is restrict. This is what I think people have heard, that the state is looking to reduce the amount of per capita water use daily from 50 gallons down to, I think, 42 or 43 gallons per day. Right. That is a concern for us, because what the state hasn't considered, and I don't know if they're going to be writing a provision that gives credit to agencies that recycle water or are really good stewards of its water resources. Because if they do reduce the amount of water usage per capita for indoor water use, let's just say more efficient toilets and washing machines and dishwashers and shorter showers, what that affects is how much recycled water we produce, right? That's less sewage going down the pipeline. And with that, our sewer lines were designed for a certain amount of flow to go through, just to move the particles along down to the treatment plant.
Particles.
That's a nice way to putting
Great way of putting it.
Yeah, thank you.
I'll be right back. I got to go particle.
Yeah,
I'm using that.
dude. I'm still here, man.
Yeah.
But anyway, so less water use actually does concern us, because it could cause some more odor issues in certain reaches of town, just because the particles aren't moving.
There's no flow.
The other part is that our treatment plant is, like I said, every single drop is used. So we have to use some of that water for our own industrial use, right? We actually treat industrial waste, and we need some water to blend in order for us to irrigate our ranch with. Well, the less water that's going down the pipelines means less water for us to recycle. Right. And that is contrary to what the state is actually asking people to do. They want all agencies to do what Modesto is doing, to find innovative ways to enhance water supply. And recycled water is considered what we call new water, right? That water used to go down the drain, down the river, into the ocean. And now we're finding beneficial uses for it. So my concern is that if this goes through, that we could see some big changes happen to not just the recycled water world, but also to our revenue, because we actually sell recycled water to Del Porto.
Wow.
Interesting.
So both those bills do the same thing. Which one does what?
Yeah, I'm not too sure about that.
Okay, we'll check it out. We'll talk about it later.
And that was Senate Bill 606?
Senate Bill 606 and Assembly
Senate
Bill
1668.
1668. Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
I wrote them down.
Good for you. Well, I know. I saw that because you're that car person. You're California Association of Realtors.
Realtors. Yep.
Gets involved.
We get involved in that stuff.
Oh, definitely you guys do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've after saying that, I'm thinking of that little meme thing you said, how plumber, the B is silent, and how that different things.
Mortgage, the T is silent.
Yeah, because
realtor, the is silent.
Yeah, because a lot of people say realtor. It's like it's not lawyer tour or a docket tour. I like to add the extra thing in there. All right, well, you've been giving us a lot of information about City of Modesto, the water, sewer lines, and that kind of stuff. And what else you want to tell us before you go?
That the City of Modesto provides great customer service. I mean, we do have programs where we also do a water-wise consultation. So if you're concerned about your water usage inside your house, we'll actually send someone out there. Just contact us, and we'll send one of our technicians out there, and they'll help a customer assess where they can actually save water.
Wow.
You do not have access to my home, so just put that out there right away. My question was, why don't you guys each household has this amount of water that you can utilize, right? And then if say they only have one person in that household and they take that many showers, and they want to use their amount of water left over to do their lawn and other stuff, why couldn't we do a program like that? You follow me? Because some households had 6 people in them or 7, and then they try to water, and then they can't because they're overusing water.
Well, that's a really good question. And realistically, it's very difficult because you could have a house of just a husband and wife, right? Retired husband and wife that use very little water. And then you can next door that you can have a family of 6 or 7 or even generational families in one home.
Right.
It's very hard to regulate what people do inside their home, right? What we do is we meter them, right? So if you're unhappy about your water bill, right, there's ways that you can actually control that, right, by using less water. Similar to if you don't want to pay the high cost of gasoline, you either bike or you drive less. Similar to that,
I don't like your logic.
It does make sense though, right, Mike?
Yeah, it does.
Yeah,
It does.
I live on a road that used to not have a meter. Yeah, and then a couple of years ago, all of a sudden they showed up.
Yeah.
We appreciate you paying your bill.
My wife does.
All right, we appreciate her then.
I can't afford to. She has to do it with her job.
Yeah, she makes the money. Always something to chew on here at Real Estate Jerky on PowerTalk 1360 KFIV. If you have any questions or comments for me, Mike Kelly, please dial 209-968-5633. That's 209-968-5633. Check us out on all social media platforms at Real Estate Jerky, or email us at radio@realestatejerky.com. To get our exclusive newsletter, just text the word jerky to 33777. When we come back, we'll talk more Modesto utilities and real estate. Stay right there.
'Cause we got small towns and farmland, folks who still make a living with their hands.